Hey, I want to invite you guys, if you've been listening to this podcast and enjoying this content and are passionate about protection, you should know that we have an entire library of all of the protector symposiums that we've ever done, hosted at protectornation.com. You can go there and you can download those and you can watch every protector symposium we've had to date there online, and you can learn protection tactics from some of the most elite trainers in the world from the comfort of your own home. I think you'll be surprised about how much content we actually have there. It's very, very, very reasonably priced, and you can upgrade your protection skills. Remember, protection is not all about the hard skills. 90% of it is all about the software, the programming, the way you see and move in the world to achieve a safer pattern of life. With that having been said, go to protectornation.com, join us there, and learn from the best of the best. Now, enjoy the show. So, man, how are you? How are you and yours? Real quick before, just for the beginning of the podcast sake, everybody, this is Yossi Levy. He's like my brother in Israel. We've done things together for years. He's another private security professional, and someone who's near and dear to my heart. So I want to get you guys the real deal word on the ground. So we're doing this podcast right now while I drive back from LAX. So, brother, how are you?
Good. Overwhelmed.
Okay.
Tough days.
Yeah, man.
Very long days. If you'll hear in the background noises, it's the F-15s passing from behind me from north, heading south, which is a Gaza Strip, or passing from the south north to the Lebanese border. Personally, I had to evacuate my home yesterday at 8 a.m. in the morning on the Lebanese border as a requirement of the Israeli army, as it took possession of everything, which is 4 clicks from the border. So, and as you know, I have young kids, tough times. I'm not even, I don't even know how to start to fathom the horrible incidents that happened in the Gaza Strip on Saturday. And that's where we are at.
Yeah, man. I think I posted something about, I'm so sorry that, you guys are dealing with this. And you're kind of close. You're kind of only 4 clicks away from the border. That's a extended patrol. That's an extended military patrol. So I'm glad you're safe. We would on average do 3 clicks per patrol in the Marine Corps. So, I saw some people that were like trying to be neutral on my chats underneath my post, and I just wanted to say straight up, from jump, obviously in the Middle East, things have been going on for years between every side, but people killing innocent people who are not in uniform, raping, murdering, dragging elderly people through the streets behind motorcycles, all the things that we've seen, indiscriminately killing people, those guys are not, that's not warriors. Those are evil deeds that are being done. It's one thing if I put a uniform on and you attack me. That's an act. That's a militaristic act against another force. But innocent people, I wouldn't do these things to my enemy. I would go find my enemy and we fight like men. This type of behavior, the world's better without these types of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, true. And it's brutal. It's brutal. You don't even need to see any of the videos or start to define what's fake news and what's real. It's just the thought and the understanding and the scale, again, the scale of evil and pure hatred. And, I'm not a man of I usually not getting stuck with no words, but this is straight out vicious and brutalism at the highest level. And those people, I'm sure we'll get even with them, each and every one of them. But at this moment, that's yet not the mission. It becomes the mission. It's yet not the mission.
Okay. And real quick, before we move on to what the exact mission is too, I want to further kind of illuminate the reality that, like, at least on my side, you can speak to this. It's not a culture necessarily that I'm calling evil. It's people that are willing to murder in a sense. I was in, Iraq. It wasn't the Muslims that I had an issue with them. There's so many Muslims that were very amazing that I'm still friends with, that showed us great hospitality and saved our lives by showing us things we were going to run into and get blown up and stuff. It was the people that were willing to enslave those same Muslims, and it was the people that were willing to do horrible things to innocent people. Those were the people that we were geared up to deal with. So I want to make sure everyone understands we're not attacking a culture or a religion or anything like that, but people that are willing to do these types of evil, unspeakable things to non-combatants. That's really where I personally draw the line. Politics are different than that.
100% agreed. I mean, I have in my kibbutz a Muslim couple that are kibbutz members. She's a nurse. He's sort of a social worker and a nurse as well. They are both dear to my heart. I don't know if you remember on one of our many personal calls, I told you my wife was just in a delegation in the U.S. to speak behalf of how we are uniting Arab Israelis, Muslims, Christians. I don't care. Right. So no, it's not about your religious, whether you're Jew or a Muslim. Yeah. Not all Muslims are evil.
Right.
That's not the point here. Hamas is a terrorist organization, a vicious, with absurd belief, goals, and missions, and that are sickening, and they are involved specifically with murdering whoever and whatever and whenever. And no, that's not a cultural thing. No, it's not.
Right.
We are aligned in that understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the mission right now, as you were saying, brother?
So basically until late this morning, is Monday. This incident started Friday, 6 a.m. in the morning. The whole Saturday, Sunday, and part of today was to take control and stabilize the situation.
Yeah.
Meaning taking control of all the kibbutzim and settlements and moshavim along the strip that were taken in possession by Hamas, clearing them door by door. That required an enormous amount of foot ground, tactical units, and just a lot of manpower. While doing that, taking care of the estimated 80 holes within the fence that were created during Saturday and Sunday events.
How many holes?
Imagine, if I'm not mistaken, 80.
Wow.
Now, even I'm defining a hole, everything that a human being can pass through. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So you need to have an eyes and a weapon and some optics on each one of those. So stabilizing that situation, respectfully taking out all the bodies. This portion of the deal is yet not completed. As you remember, the process of moving, identifying bodies in the Jewish religious is different in that sense. The art and craft of identifying in this situation is a lot more dependent on DNA. So there is a religious process taking place and there is a forensic process taking place. So that's why we are far, far, far from having a full identity. That's the second portion. The third piece of this puzzle is gathering, understanding the scale of people that were taken hostage, dead or alive, dead and alive, their numbers, and who's a civilian, who's not a civilian, who's an army, soldier, commander, and understanding this component. So until some time during midday today, there was this phase in the Gaza Strip area. In parallel to that, since we are a state that is circled by enemies,
the size
we
of
always have to keep our eyes to the north, to our dear friends from the north, the Hezbollah. We always need to keep our eyes to the east, to our Syrian friends. Now between those two, you have Iran, who's basically steering the wheel with confidence, and you have the West Bank, which is another collision region, and you have the Israeli Arabs, as in the past already occurred, where there were collisions as well, going back 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So you need to eliminate an attack on the Gaza Strip and keep your eyes closed on all those 4 other objectives. This is basically what I was just referring to, is to stretch yourself to the max and then do some more. That's why as of Sunday morning, the army has been preparing itself in all frontiers. Moving, first of all, a full declaration of war, recruitment of any army reserve personnel. The number is in the hundreds of thousands of personnel that were recruited, and assigning missions, tasks, making sure all our borders are geared up and ready for any escalation. If it's a retaliation, if it's copycatting incidents, if it's joining forces, it doesn't matter at the moment what the reason is, but it's just to make sure that we're not exposed. And this is what we have been dealing with until a few hours ago. At this point, the state of Israel is kind of in a point where there is I won't say complete, but I'll say a very high probability of understanding the scale of hostages and identification of them. That's one. There is the aspect of gaining control back on the Gaza Strip and evacuating all of the Gaza Strip from the northwestern part to the southeastern part, all of it. And basically creating, as of now, a sterilized area for the army to do its thing. And in the last hours, we are hearing over the news, and you can even hear it when you're out and about, that at least the aerial bombing portion of the Israeli response has been initiated in wider scales than we knew before. Some of the protocols have been changed. Israel did a lot of background work on gaining international support that will allow us to operate in the way that we are currently operating. It means to get the full U.S. support, UN support. A lot of our friends from the European nation. So there's a lot of publication to do, a lot of propaganda to do in a positive way. You need to obviously, prove to them and present to them indication as to why this is not as if nobody sees, right? Why is this not similar to anything that has ever occurred in the past?
Right.
And now we are in the point where we are about to change the paradigm, in the sense that, to speak in high words of eliminating or, taking Hamas and basically erasing them off the map. These are comments that I don't know based on what grounds. I do know, hope, and believe that it's going to be different, just because the scale of what the Israeli state is going through right now is something that the Israeli state have never been through before. Never.
Wow.
It's yeah. And you need to remember, these are not soldiers going to war and not coming back.
Right.
These are kids as young as 6 months. These are old people as old as 90 years old. And if they were not able to kidnap them, and if they were not able to, shoot them, so they just burnt them, their mindset was to, I'm not using kill because it's not killing, it's brutality. It's slaughtering, it's brutality as much as possible.
Right.
And it, there is the element of the confidence of the state of Israel and its citizens in the parliament and the government and the army, because you lose a sense of confidence. So that's an element that needs to be regained. But at the moment, I think that everybody's pretty much focused on what's the outcomes will be once Israel will finish its mission.
Yeah. How close do you feel like maybe we are to stabilizing, at least for now, the situation that took place the other day? I mean, I guess it's a hard question to answer because, everyone takes a turn in these combative situations.
When you say stabilize, in what sense do you mean stabilize?
In the sense that, are people still, does it feel like the military presence now in Israel is providing an environment that would make it very difficult for the enemy to do what they did over the weekend in terms of saturating the environment? Okay.
110%. Currently, I can tell you, if you walk to my kibbutz, it looks like an army base. There are, in all the borders, uniforms everywhere, full force, full ammunition, heavy duty shit.
Right.
The skies are lit with planes.
Okay.
The Air Force is grinding and working. Earlier today, there was an attempt of a squad to infiltrate from Lebanon. They didn't hesitate. They had Apache basically shoot
Decimate
all
them.
over the area, decimate all the area where they were at. So, and also in the Gaza Strip. I mean, once we were able to stabilize the situation, anybody who just even comes close is being bombed, and it's something. Personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of the state or behalf of anybody else.
Right.
Something in the moral compass has been broken.
Right.
You allow yourself to maybe be more aggressive, less thoughtful, angry,
Right.
And yesterday, so wait, let's go back. So that's that, but you need to keep in mind, we still have them shooting missiles.
Oh, so they are still.
Yes. So this is
attack.
No. They are still attacking. They were shooting yesterday late in the evening. It was a massive shooting towards some southern cities. Today there was. I actually took my kids out to grab something to eat today for like an hour, and we were literally caught walking back to the car, and the siren blew, and we were in the car. I'm driving. Imagine driving on. Yeah. I'll give you the scenario. You're driving on Sunset Boulevard with your wife and your kids in the car. The siren blows. You stop the car in the middle of the road. You take your kids. You run to the closest building you see. Okay. If you can't enter the building, you just lay on the floor. You put them on the ground with their hands above their heads. You squeeze them to the corner as much as possible, and you just lay over them.
And hope and pray.
Can you? Exactly. Now try to imagine this situation.
Yeah.
And this is for some people in the state of Israel, that's their life. And nobody should live this way. And we've been saying this for years, but I think that in that sense as well, I think something changed now, and something will, I hope will look differently once all this war would end.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it kills me, man. I hate war, and I've been in those types of situations, but women and children, man, like, breaks my heart that they're so indiscriminate, right? And, in our responses, we still have to have power under discretion, but we need to be effective. We need to be effective as you guys are, so yeah, man, what are the needs? Go ahead, and then we'll get into some needs that you guys may have. Yeah, if someone is listening and wants to help or send aid, or is there something people can do on our side or spread the message, or is there anything people can do from here to support you if they want to support you guys?
Sure. So first of all, there's a lot of fundraising that is being taking place. I'm actually combining some of them and helping some organizations that I believe their efforts, and some Army combat units that we are helping and supporting their needs, and just providing them with more of what they need. Sometimes it's gear, sometimes it's just funding that for them to purchase gear that they need. That's on one hand. The other aspect is just to maintain the support, not to get blindsided by fake news. And I would just, I am calling for everybody who wants to hear and speak and understand how it feels from the side of, now don't put me as Yossi, a guy that is in the security industry. I'm a father of 3 kids. I live 1 mile, less than a mile actually, from the Lebanese border. I had to evacuate my home. I have no clue what's my home going to look like when I get back. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to wake up in the morning and after 30 minutes, evacuate my home, take whatever belongings I thought that are essentials, put them in the car with my kids, my wife, my dog, and leave. So, if anybody want to understand how this is, that's a message I want to share. If everybody want to understand, I'm now staying with family that they have 2 kids there on both sides of this battle. One up north, one down south.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's a crazy life we're living. But it's a mission and it's a war that I'm definite and positive that we will prevail 110%. But yeah, if people want to help, one way is to make sure that their message is the right one. And if they need to align that message, I'm here for that. And whoever want to contribute and donate, if it's gear or funding, they can reach out to me and I can address them in ways, in more than one way, to those sources who need this aid. As you know, I also share with you a list of gear and stuff that, as you'll see later, that we trying to recruit in order to help some of the unit. When you go from A to Z and you immediately recruit that portion of individuals, it takes time to gear everybody up in the proper way. And wherever we can expedite that and move this process faster, that's what we're going to do.
Right.
And just really to remember that this is a pure evil. This is an act of evil. This is not any other act, and that I'm sure that the outcome and the revenge, and I won't use any other word, but revenge will be appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. And accurate. And we'll make sure, whatever links or contact information, you want is underneath this thing. And you were talking about, kind of the making sure people have the right narrative. And I want to make sure we extract that and highlight that, because we're going to get hit with a bunch of stuff. We're going to get bombarded with a bunch of stuff. It's just the nature of the world now. But what is that story? What is that framework? What does that narrative sound like and look like?
I think it's very simple. Imagine young kids going to a music festival to enjoy. You need to always keep in mind the time frame, because the time frame is critical. It's the Jewish high holidays. It's the last day of the Jewish high holidays. It's the Simchat Torah day. It's a very religious and important day in the Jewish religious holidays. It's a Saturday morning. It's a Shabbat. It's a Saturday morning. So take into account that, the time frame chosen from their perspective, they couldn't have chosen a better day. The 50 years memory of the Yom Kippur War in October 1973. So all those 3 components together, but it's extremely the understanding of the Shabbat, which is a religious day for the Jewish people. And the fact that it's not only a Shabbat morning, it's also a holiday morning. It's kind of, a mass shooting on Christmas, a mass shooting on Christmas Day. That's what it's can be compared to. And so there was this music festival, 3,000 young kids. All they wanted to
no combatants.
3,000, I'm sorry. Young adults going to a party, an organized, permitted, approved party with 50-some unarmed security guards just to maintain the peace and the order, and another 20-some soldiers. Not soldiers, I'm sorry, police officers. Paid police officers. And 6 a.m., people are dancing. Some people are resting in their tents. You know what? I'll give you a great example. Imagine 200 terrorists coming at 6 a.m. to Burning Man Festival and shooting people down. As simple as that. With RPGs, grenades,
AKs, RPKs, everything.
Everything you think of, .5 caliber, slaughtering people, burning them in their cars, setting them all on fire, Molotov bottles, the whole 9 yards. That's
what they did.
That's what they did. Now,
and that's only part of what they did, because they were in the city centers. I'm seeing videos of.
I don't want to be sound. That's for that, from their perspective. That's the icing on the cake, dude.
Yeah.
But there is a road leading to where the party took place. When you'll see images of that road, you'll see something from Afghanistan, dude. From I don't know from where. From Ukraine. You'll see trails of cars burnt.
Wow.
Almost shy than 300 people, not an accurate number. Shy than 300 people were massacred just there. Now, they shot them, and then they came back and they shot him again. And people were hiding in shelter. And there are those cement cubicles to take shelter from the rockets that are spread all over. So there was this guy who, talked on the TV earlier today, and he said that there were like 50 people running into those shelter cubicles, and those two terrorists came to the front, and they throw 2 hand grenades in. And and imagine you throw a hand grenade into a shelter, the impact is quadruple.
Massive. Right.
Then he was like on the third row of the people that were squishing inside. And they played music and they were laughing and they just started shooting everybody. Then they walked out. They threw in another hand grenade. Somebody came back in, shot them again. This is an act of madness. And when everybody will wake up in a few days from now and say, hey, you're bombing buildings and you're killing people.
Right, exactly.
That's what I want to remember.
Yeah.
And a family of 5.
Yeah.
That their oldest daughter is 6. They were all handcuffed, shot, then they cut them. And, it's sickening. It makes me sick to my stomach. And that's not war. That's not war.
That's not war.
Because eventually there will be, I don't know, about 1,000 dead from this one day. About 1,000 dead. We already exceeded 900. Okay. In percentage, yes. There's going to be army. There's police. So far, there are like 35 police cops. 35 police cops. Say another, I don't know, 100, 200 military personnel. 60% of the people are innocent individuals. All the army and the police are people that try to protect the civilian.
Yeah.
You see people walking in the street of Sderot with RPGs and shooting into people's houses, going door to door. They came with, they had drills and everything to break the locks. Yeah. So in a lot of the houses, they have the safe room. Now the safe room has a heavy shield metal door.
Right.
Okay. So to those doors that they couldn't walk into, they took the drill. So they could drill through the door and at least put the gun in and blaster the room. Whatever, even if it's a minimum, but to do that. And then they put a fire outside of the door that people will suffocate from the smoke coming in from underneath the door. Or, they will wait for them outside because they will have to come out because nobody want to die getting burnt, right? The human nature will tell you, open the door and run out. So nobody's ever going to talk to me about, hey, it's war and this is how war is. This is no fucking war. This is
Murder.
Murdering
mass
innocent people.
Yeah.
Kids, toddlers, women, children, the age of every individual that will listen to this recording, he or she, they have a kid at the age that one of those kids there was or murdered or taken into hostage, and I don't want to even start thinking what that's going to look like.
Right.
Okay. So any and all reaction, retaliation, outcome, considered justified at this point.
Yeah. Wow. That's man, that's an unfortunate reality. But people, combatants, warriors, protectors are created for such a time as this. Because without people that are formidable and capable of violence and being better at it than those guys, the whole world would look like this. Man, I think, my hearts and prayers go out to you guys. I've got many friends and brothers, including yourself out there. So man, and like I said, it's not a political thing. It's not an ethnic thing. It's not a cultural thing. It's not a religious thing. This is
none of
murderers. This is murderers versus people who live next to them in peace and are trying to just live their lives and go to a concert and live their family, be with their families. This is those people, versus people that chose to do all these horrible things. Very sophisticated, very coordinated, very premeditated. Yes, an operation like this takes years of premeditation, calculation, study, hostile planning cycles.
This is, by the way, something that we will have as a state to investigate, look into, analyze, make the right conclusions. I'm sure that people's heads will be chopped off in the sense that they will obviously be fired. But now is not the time for that.
Right. Now is the time to mobilize.
Nobody argues the fact that there was a failure here, whether it's intelligence, preparation, readiness, response time, protocols, procedures, not arguable. But your enemy is not an army. Your enemy is somebody who wants to come and kill you and your kids. Why? Just because.
Yeah, just because of who you are. And it's not a uniformed enemy either, which is the worst type. It's an insurgency. They hide amongst the population and then they appear. This is the worst kind in existence.
Yep.
This is what we dealt with in Iraq. These are the hardest type to dig out and understand. So
yeah, the comparison to ISIS nowadays is like you cannot compare it to ISIS from the level of brutalism and viciousness. That's just the way to look at it.
Well, my brother, is there anything else you want to say or anything else I can do? We're working on some other things, but any final thoughts kind of on this?
I just, I think that we should, if there is one recommendation, is that we can't never, ever underestimate our enemies.
Yeah.
Their motives.
Yeah.
Their agendas. And we should always stay as alert and ready, prepared, focused as possible. Because that it only takes one time.
Yeah.
That you're not at your very, very best.
Right. And you're never the same again.
And you're never the same again. True. Yeah. And just, for those who support and love the state of Israel, just prayers for the well-being of the hostages and for the recovery of the thousands of people injured, and much, much, much respect for those who lost their life, whether in combat, whether in saving other people's lives. The amount of, hero stories that will come up once this whole incident will be investigated will be skyrocketing. People here put others before themselves, and they lost their lives for it. Civilians and army and police and fire department and many others, and just prayers and hopes for a better world for all of us to live in.
Yeah.
And we can't allow ourselves to think that it can happen only here because of the region we are presence in.
Yes.
Because hatred is hatred. It's all over the world.
It's everywhere. Yep. And it's most of all, there's a lot of it aimed at us as well. We have
True.
not made our situation safer based on our political moves and decisions for over the
Yeah.
last few decades.
And much respect, and appreciation to the very clear, precise, unjudgmental message that the US government showed Israel following this event. The full 100% support.
Okay, good.
And the support that is also being interpreted by actions. We are expecting to have a huge carrier, Air Force carrier ship.
Okay.
The Ford, from Gerald Ford, over the seas of Israel with another 6 or 7 ships to show a sign of force and to show our enemies surrounding us that, America is not just supporting through press conferences from the other side of the globe, but they're here, they're present, right. They are supporting. And if thoughts to join the party, they should have a second thought about that.
Okay.
Yep.
And another small note to the community out there, I bring some people to your job with her, but as you're executing, your tasks and missions, just remember to let the enemy become you. Don't let them turn you into what they are. Exactly. As you do those things and you pull those triggers and all the things you must do, make sure that you're still driven by the love for the people behind you and the people you represent, rather than the hatred towards those in front of you, because it's a really easy mistake to make, because you have
very
to do
thin line.
Things. Very thin line.
Very thin line. Nowadays, specifically, the line is extremely thin.
Yes, and it's a mantle that us warriors must always be able to psychologically carry, which is, I am not like these guys. I have my honor, and I fight with that honor, and the innocent and the weak I will protect, and those combatants I'm here to deal with, we will fight, and may the best man win by the grace of God.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree with you 110%. 110%.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Yossi, it's such an honor and such a privilege. Always is, my friend. If there's anything I can do, you just say the word, and I will do everything I can always to support you. Thoughts and prayers, but more than that, you are on my podcast, and anything else I can do to support you guys out there, man. You guys are family.
Yeah, so we obviously plan for your audience many more things to come in the next few months.
Yes.
We will stay on track with this course. We will not let this incident change the course of life and nature as we plan them, because that's also a mission that people try to do, and we will not give them this privilege. I appreciate you for taking the time and see the importance and the will to understand this message. And, for whomever is out there and want to hear this, a different objective of how it is, again, not as a person from the industry, just as a father.
Right.
I'm here for that. I'm exactly here for that. Exactly here for that. Okay. Stay safe.
Right. Yes, sir.
Stay
you too.
Well.
Hey,
I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too as well, my friend. I look forward to shaking your hand early next year, my man, when we execute on our missions.
Sooner than later.
Outstanding. All right. God be with you.
Safe.
We'll talk soon.
Be safe.
Sure.
Boom! Quick shout out to our sponsor, Staccato. My first pistol sponsor. I've been sponsored by a lot of companies, right, over the years. But when it comes to pistol, that's my bread and butter. Pistol is something I believe in. You know, I'm a competitive shooter. You know, we're shooting anywhere from, 800 rounds a month type of thing, right? So Staccato, being what I believe, is one of, if not the most complete handguns you can put in your hand. It's got every component that a handgun could have, should have. They're actually extremely dependable now that they've made some changes, and these things are straight up tack drivers. If you're looking for a pistol that will do as much of the work for you as a piece of hardware can, obviously you have to have the marksmanship and all the different things, but different guns perform at different levels. And I want to say that Staccato is one of, by far, for sure, take it from a competitive shooter, we're shooting the highest volumes of rounds constantly right now. Not used to have a background guy, but like right now, when you go shoot, you're gonna see certain brands. Staccato is one of, if not the highest performing firearm that is both CCW, duty ready, and also competitive ready. So I want to give them a shout out. If you guys are looking for a good handgun to build your skills on top of, go check out Staccato. Much love and respect. Boom, yo, what up? I hope you guys really enjoyed that episode. Hey, listen, in order to get more out of the brand, I want to encourage you to go join us on our social media platforms and join us at protectornation.com. We post different types of content on our different platforms at different times. You'll get blog posts, you'll get videos, you'll get real world combat engagements and things like that. So stay plugged in order to get the most out of the brand. In order to support us, also go to protectornation.com and buy something, or join forces with me on Patreon. You'll scroll down the homepage and you'll see the link. Anything you can give counts. Think about whatever you would lose in your cushions or like spend on McDonald's this month, $5 a month, whatever it is. That helps us make the world a better place by making good people dangerous. Anyways, this is ByronRodgers, protector by nature and by trade, and I'll see you on the next piece of content, whether it's a video or podcast. Out.